Welcome back to By the Bookshelf. I'm glad you are joining me tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about those actions Session has taken to look at possible in-person gatherings and outdoor worship this summer, as recommended by our task force. I hope you've had a chance to read the letter that was linked in the e-news and on Facebook that is now on our website under News on a special tab called COVID. The first action Session took was to allow gatherings of 25 or fewer people in the church building or on the grounds as long as CDC health guidelines and rules are followed. So that means if small groups, fellowship groups, or committees would like to meet at the church, they will be able to after Dauphin County has been in the green phase for at least 2 weeks. So that's not until after July 3rd. Now, those meetings must take place either outside or in indoor spaces that can be ventilated where groups can practice social distancing, such as the fellowship hall, the lounge, and room 7. Now, in order to book a space and time, you will need to call the church office to schedule a room and a time and also receive other specific instructions and safety rules. We need to know times and rooms being used so we can keep them out of use until they are cleaned. And we want to wait a little bit of time between each use. Now, we'd much rather prefer people meet outside because if you meet inside, the cleaning can get a little tricky. Now, we can have our cleaning crew, which comes pretty much every night, do a basic clean. But if something needs to be completely sanitized, that is actually a different cleaning crew with a different fee associated with it. I believe it's about $180 a room. So if we're having to do that all the time, well, that's going to cost a lot of money. So if somebody is found to have tested positive with COVID, we're going to have to do that to a lot of spaces. So we would much rather you meet outside. Inside is a possibility for certain things. We're not saying it's prohibited, but we don't want to encourage it too much because of that extra cleaning cost. So you do need to call the church office to schedule a time, to schedule a room or a place on the church grounds. You will also need a roster of anyone participating in the gathering emailed to the church office after the gathering for contact tracing purposes. If someone is later confirmed to have tested positive for COVID, we will need to be able to get in touch with everyone who came in contact with that person. Now, we will keep disinfecting wipes in the rooms that are being used as well. It'd be great if when you're done, you can wipe off the chairs and the table. You may also even want to do it when you arrive. Masks must be worn whether you meet inside or outside. And here's a helpful tip. Your mask should cover your nose. If it's just covering your mouth, you ain't actually doing that much good. I know they're uncomfortable, but that's how you wear them. That's how you're going to need to wear them in the building. So if they're all just covering our mouth and everyone's nose is still breathing out, we're not doing any good here, people. So hand sanitizer will also be out. You need to use that on your arrival and your departure. We will have some at all the entrances. You will also need to practice social distancing, so that means sitting or standing at least 6 feet apart. Many places have recommended even further. I've seen up to 20 feet, so a minimum of 6 feet. If a group arrives at the same time, you're all trying to get in at the same time, just space it out. We don't want people clustered together trying to get to that hand sanitizer or clustered in at the door. Please limit elevator use to one person or family. If you have to use the elevator, we want to go up at different times. That's a small space for a bunch of people. If your group is meeting in the building, and again, we'd rather you not just because of some of those cleaning purposes. I have to talk with our cleaning crew more to kind of figure out what do they consider sanitizing, what do they consider cleaning, what's the level, the change. But if you do use the building, you can use the restrooms, but make sure you wash your hands thoroughly. And then we're going to have to know when people are in the building because, again, we're going to have those restrooms cleaned very well. Again, that may be the extra charge. It depends, again, on what they're considering a deep sanitizing versus just a regular cleaning. Regular cleaning, they should be mopping, wiping things down anyway. I just need to make sure we get that terminology clear under what circumstances we'd have to pay that extra money. If you are feeling sick, or if you've had a fever or a cough, we need you to stay home. Don't be a hero and come. Even if you're scheduled to be an usher or sing or something, we will be okay. Do not come in those circumstances. So we would prefer groups meet outside. If you do, please bring your own chairs or sit on the provided benches. We do not want to set up chairs and tables outside and have to bring them down and sanitize and wipe them down, keep moving them in and out. Even if your group meets off church campus, we need to know if it's associated with the church in any way. For instance, if the youth group goes to Hershey Park, we need to know the when and have a list of participants, and they will still need to follow all the safety guidelines set forth here if they're in any way associated with the church. If you have further questions about a small group church gathering, inside or outside or off campus, please reach out to me and let me know. But remember, if you want to schedule one, you need to call the church office so we can get it on the calendar and make sure you understand all the rules associated with it. Session has also approved a detailed plan for implementing outdoor worship services. Once Dauphin County has been in the green phase for at least 3 weeks, we will start by hosting a test run of an outdoor service on the front lawn for a small group of church officers. This timing will allow us to react to any spike in new cases or other changes in the weeks following our movement into the green phase. The test run will also allow us to better understand spacing, logistics, sound, location, and other practicalities before we invite the congregation to gather for outdoor worship. If all goes well, we will schedule 4 weeks of outdoor services on Tuesday evenings at 7 o'clock. If for some reason weather doesn't allow us to meet on that Tuesday, the makeup date will be Thursday at 7 p.m. Attendance will be limited, and those who wish to attend must sign up in advance. The maximum number of worshipers will be determined following our initial trial worship, but we will start with smaller numbers, perhaps around 50, and that's just throwing out our number. It's not going to be 200, I know that. We will have a Sign Up Genius or a Google form for you and your family to sign up. We need to know how many members of your family are coming to ensure we don't go over our maximum number of worshipers. Those who wish to attend in person may sign up for one of the 4 worship services. If there are still spaces available on the day of a given worship service, anyone may sign up that day up to the maximum number until that number is reached. We will worship on the front lawn just like we used to in the past. Those leading worship will be on the concrete above the font. Worshipers can gather on the grass, but not on the concrete benches around the font. Worshipers will need to bring their own seats, chairs, or blankets and remain 6 feet apart from other worshipers. And again, that's at least 6 feet apart. We have a lot of space. Let's use it. Worshipers must wear a mask. We will have extra disposable ones in case someone is in need of a mask. We will have multiple hand sanitizer stations spread out so you can use hand sanitizer as soon as you arrive and leave. We will not have any bulletins, but may send a PDF to those attending to print off at home or to pull up on a phone or iPad of some kind. We're going to test that out at our test service. Now we're going to limit singing to short refrains such as the doxology or the Gloria Patri, a verse or two of a favorite hymn, since it is hard to sing with a mask on, and even prolonged singing with a mask outside can lead to contagion spread. Services will be between 30 and 45 minutes. They will look a lot like the filmed Tuesday chapel services you might have seen on YouTube or Facebook. We'll have 1 or 2 song leaders and perhaps a couple of instrumentalists. We will have a simple liturgy, prayers, and a shorter meditation. The building will not be open during outdoor worship for people to go in and out of, because then we'd have to clean off all those spaces, make sure the doors are cleaned, the bathrooms, all of that. Adds a whole other layer of challenge. If there's an emergency, it's there, but we're not going to open it up for people to go in and out of. We will have ushers to help make sure people are spacing and just to keep things organized. When the service is over, we'll dismiss from the outside moving in, so not everyone's leaving all at once, people passing each other by. And we ask you to please refrain from staying and mingling in clusters after the service. There have already been examples of churches following all of these rules for outside worship, but then having people hugging in the parking lot, and disease spread has occurred, and it's been heartbreaking for those churches. We will continue to take this disease seriously. All the work and the sacrifices we've all made these past few months could be for nothing if we just get complacent and tired of it now and assume, well, we're done with this. Let's just go back to normal. We've already seen states having higher new cases per day now than at any other time during this pandemic. We don't want that to be the case for Pennsylvania, so we still want to be safe and diligent in how we are interacting and gathering in person. So one of the questions that have come up a lot is, well, what if someone comes who is not wearing a mask? If that's the case, we will provide one of those disposable ones to them. But if people refuse to wear a mask, we will simply stop the service. We're not going to create conflict by trying to make someone wear a mask or ask them to leave or anything like that. There have already been too many bad situations that stem from these sort of disputes. It's not worth people getting upset, getting in a fight. We will simply stop the service and ask everyone to leave. If this becomes a problem, we will just not have any more outdoor worship services. Now, I don't anticipate that being a problem, but multiple people have asked that what if scenario, and that's what we would do. Now, after 4 weeks, we will evaluate outdoor worship and make any necessary changes before scheduling additional outdoor worship services. We hope we can continue to do this into the future. Even if at some point we're back in the sanctuary on Sundays, we may still continue outdoor worship on Tuesdays because the chapel is very small. It'd be hard to fit too many people in it. And if the weather's nice in September, October, there's nice fall days, it might be really nice to continue to have those worship services. Now, Session has also voted to continue live stream only worship on Sunday mornings through August. That means we will not be gathering in person in the sanctuary on Sunday mornings, at least until early September. This will allow the staff to continue to tailor worship to the live stream audience. Over the past few months, we have used many pre-recorded videos to maximize participation in worship services. We have videos of old hymns with the organ and the choir to kind of bring new life to the hymns, videoed children's messages, other announcements and things. Unfortunately, we do not have the technology right now to allow those who are in the sanctuary to be able to see and hear those videos. Also, singing and congregational responses would also need to be very limited if we had a group in the sanctuary. We wouldn't be able to have a conversation with children where kids come up front to participate. And the sanctuary wouldn't be able to hold that many anyway with the recommended spacing. Under our current conditions, trying to provide one worship service on Sunday morning for both in-person and live stream audience will result in serving neither audience very well. Now, as we continue to update our technology, we can continue to provide meaningful at-home worship services on Sunday morning, even as we provide meaningful in-person outdoor worship on Tuesday evenings. We hope this approach reflects the time and care we have taken to hear the desires and concerns of our members, our staff, our community, and denominational leadership. It is not our goal to make premature decisions or take risks with your health or safety. We want to do this with all due diligence, with concern, with care, based on science, talking to leaders in our community, the medical professionals in our community. This is all stemming from a lot of conversations with a lot of people. We ultimately hope this 3-point plan will alleviate some fatigue and offer some clarity. Many of us are weary of the day-to-day decision-making and waiting for news about each of the gathering places in our lives. Now we realize it might feel like we are reopening too slowly. Others might feel too quickly. Some businesses and other spaces are able to open sooner. But we know that traditional church services and similar events are higher risk activities. We want to acknowledge all those feelings and share that we express them in our discussions as a task force and a session. No one wants to wait longer to be together. But we did not come to this plan lightly. It was born of our church's theology, identity, mission, and vision, and developed in consultation with recommendations from the PCUSA, the Presbytery of Carlisle, and medical professionals in our church and community leaders. We want to make sure we keep our church safe and our community safe. And we appreciate your patience through this all, how you've continued to connect digitally when you have been able to come outside, and whether it's the choir and small groups singing, the God Squad getting our grounds ready. Any of these different activities, the people coming in to sing and worship, to play instruments, we appreciate all the ways you have connected on Zoom and other digital platforms, YouTube and Facebook. We will continue to have all of that even as we begin to gather more in person. If you're looking forward to gathering in person, we will have those opportunities coming up. If you're still not sure and you want to be extra safe because of a variety of reasons, we invite you to stay home. Continue to connect all those digital ways. We want to have both options readily available, but we want to make sure both options are good, are meaningful, and ultimately are safe. We do look forward to getting to see you again at church, whenever that may be. We appreciate all you have done and continue to do, your continued giving, your continued serving, your continued connecting. And may God be with you until we meet again.